Reserve time. Reserve time. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Reserve time. Dire team pick. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining.
Doom.
Dire team pick.
Lich.
Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Reserve time.
Shadow Fiend.
Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Dire team ban. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Reserve time.
Huh?
10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Reserve time. Dire team ban. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Reserve time.
Oh!
Dire team pick. Ten seconds remaining.
Takira! Razor!
Dire team pick. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Reserve time.
Necrophos.
Ten seconds.
Rubik!
Dire team ban. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Reserve time. Dire team pick. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining.
Alchemist.
Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Reserve time. Ten seconds.
Legion Commander!
Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining.
Welcome
Prepare
everybody
for
here to
battle.
Navi versus Monkey Business game number 1. We were basically chuckling over here during the drafting phase because we called the Alchemist.
Excuse me, I called it.
What?
Let's don't be like no. I called the Alchemist before. I don't know. I called it, but I don't agree with it. It's really
I
really
fully
greedy.
agree with it.
Okay, so here's the thing, right? When the draft went down, I really liked what Navi were doing to deal with. Like, I thought the potential of going the Doom Lich opening was quite good versus the Wisp that they was taken away from them. So I think that opening is quite strong because you have this combination of being able to just eliminate whatever the Wisp hero is, and its like viability. Oftentimes, like Tiny will be your hero if you can just shut him down, take away those spells. Plus, then you have an Aghanims on Doom. It removes certain mechanics of most Wisp heroes. For example, Tiny has the Craggy, thank you. You have the Phantom Assassin who has Blur. You have these mechanics, right? And then you have the Lich as well, who buffs up your armor so much. So many of the traditional Wisp heroes that work well are going to be countered by one or the other, right? And I feel it's an incredibly strong dual lane as well. Really good setup. I like the way Navi responded to that, though, because I said they kind of needed just an autopilot hero, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like Razor is definitely that hero that is just able to, pop Eye of the Storm, maybe gets out the damage train, maybe pops a Plasmid Field, but then he just goes from there, right? So he's not really threatened by the Doom in any way. And I think that with the mech on SF and with the early power of the Razor, and now the strong laning phase that Navi does have, like, yes, Monkey Business's laning phase is much stronger overall, but that's what they have to have. They have to have an incredibly strong laning phase. Otherwise, if you start going into the 20-minute mark and, you know, Na'Vi are forcing team fights, you don't really have much to stop that unless you have just a gigantic, like a really good net worth and experience advantage over Na'Vi by that point.
And that was our big debate that we were having beforehand. It's like, okay, when does Na'Vi actually strike? When does Na'Vi push this issue against Monkey Business? Because if they don't push this issue, Monkey sit back, they farm up, and they happy as Larry because they'll have all the weapons they want to. You'll get the Aghanim Scepter onto the from the Alchemist given onto anyone else they want to, if that's also the path they want to go, and they'll just
30
be so much
seconds to
stronger
battle.
than Na'Vi will be. But Na'Vi also, the Legion Commander, really works well for them because it gives them that early aggression that they need to find. They need to get that Blink Dagger up so you can jump in, you can lock down the Wisp, you can press the attack off all these slows like the buffed up Jakiro as well.
Yeah, exactly. For me, the last big Legion Commander I was looking at, I was like, you need something that will actually put pressure on Monkey Business by 20 minutes, and I thought Clockwork. Yeah, but Clockwork would still have a hard time in the laning phase. What I love about Na'Vi, and when I said, you know, they had this strong laning phase, is that I was specifically referencing the Legion Commander Wisp duo lane, which is incredibly strong. And if Monkey Business run the traditional lanes that they were going to, which would be the Jakiro supporting the Necrophos at the top lane, they're actually not going to do that well at shutting out this dual lane. They may even lose the lane if they're not careful. I don't think it'll happen because Necrophos is much stronger at level 1 than he used to be, with like a 50 damage buff to Death Pulse, which is pretty insane. But they're not really going to be able to shut out Funnick, and I think the combination of having an early mech on your SF, some stat items on the Razor, eventually an Ags, which gives you pushing power, and then the Legion Commander just slowly snowballing with these duels, I think that Na'Vi will take control by 20 minutes and never let it go for 15 minutes, and they'll have such an advantage that they should be able to end the game. But the thing is if they lose any amount of control, they're going to be punished so heavily by the greediness of Monkey Business choosing this Alchemist mid.
Yeah, and the Alchemist is the crazy thing to put into the mid lane. Perch was actually calculating it before. Well, actually, hello bottom lane. Moon Meander, you're very, very low. And he went to Vow first level, which is obviously normal, but has to burn the salve, gets back past his own tier 1 tower, and will end up surviving. But this Alchemist, yeah, it's like when you pick up that bounty in that first 100, it's 14 last hits. Was the calculation that you actually start with for the Alchemist.
Yeah, it's absurd. It's why we were talking about it earlier, the Broodmother plus Alchemist, where we had the Broodmother would split up the spiders and put them on either side of the runes just to make sure that the Alchemist would be able to get to that bounty. Like, it's so critical for him to, it's actually much more critical than him sitting in lane half the time.
Yeah.
The experience is important from the laning phase, but the amount of gold you get from a bounty rune is just absurd a lot of the time. So he's gonna be feeling a lot of pressure though in the beginning, especially now level 3 and level 5 from Dendi, and then that bottom lane. Like, yes, Doom Lich is a very strong lane to ensure that Doom actually gets a good amount of farm, but it's still Razor. He's still lane dominator. It's not a hero that you're going to be able to put a whole lot of pressure on, I feel, and as you saw earlier, it's even potential that Na'Vi pick up a kill on this lane.
Yeah, that's actually why I want to watch when Crit moves out of the lane and how much pressure is applied on this top lane by Snako and Funnick, because if they can keep Crit up here, then there's never that rotation to force a reaction from one of Horse, and two, make PSM do something, because look at where PSM is right now. He actually got the drag down. So the Radiant Creep Wave is basically being denied up right now, which is screwing around with the Alchemist. It's going to hurt Alchemist a little bit. Actually, technically it hurts him a lot, because there's a lot of Greevil's Greed kills that he doesn't get.
Well, did he pull it from middle, or did he pull it from bottom lane? I think he pulled it from bottom lane, right? Where he stands here on this side of the cliff. Yeah, that's what he did. And he pulls the telekinesis of the creep over the cliff, and then it runs down and catches the bottom lane. So it's actually hurting the Doom's farm. But it's still an incredibly intelligent play because the Razor can be left alone.
No, there's no acid spray to combine with it. Dendi being concocted up, but he is really, really low. And, well, PSM will be tossing back Moon Meander, but with that crit, as well as the boots, he's got all the movement speed from Scorch, and the acid spray down. PSM with a stick. Dendi actually came closer as well, comping a little bit of spill damage for that and cancelling off his bottle charge. So Dendi has 80 life, sitting back behind this tier 1 tower, and he can't come any closer. All he can do is leech experience from this mid lane.
Oh, top lane. Miracle's actually going to be dropping pretty low here. In fact, they get the kill. They just run at him straight up and manage to pick off the Necrophos. he didn't have enough mana for another Death Pulse, so between the combination of a really good hit from Overwhelming Odds, which hit the full creep wave plus the hero, and then the Wisp Balls.
Keep your eyes on bottom lane. Moonbeard has done a little bit of a run around, but of course has an observer in the lane, so he sees this coming.
Yeah, and you're not going to be able to do enough damage
Dire's
fast
middle
enough
tower is
because
under attack.
you'll just by like the third hit, you'll have lost all of your damage against the damage string static link from Razor.
It doesn't stop him.
Yeah, they'll try and chase him away and make sure he
Dire's
doesn't get
middle
CS,
tower
but they
is under
won't really
attack.
have kill potential. The same kind of goes with PSM here, unless they catch Fly, because, or maybe they catch Doom without Scorched Earth. Scorched Earth is one of the abilities I've been kind of debating with Blitz quite a bit. I feel it's so OP that it makes Doom one of the more powerful heroes in this patch. I really feel like he's A tier.
It's actually gonna be a bit of a problem as well for Havors, because he wants to go for that static link you're talking about, but it's not just Scorched Earth movement speed, it's the phase reveal coming in from Rumiander, as yeah, Fly's in no man's land. He's just trying to outrun Havors, and now with a Plasma Field, Fly will be able to survive Havors. He needs one more attack, but Fly's got space to south up. Havors does a hell of a lot of damage here, but it's not enough to kill off Fly, and he can't catch up to him. They both have the boost, but it's 3-1-5 from Speed versus 3-5-8.
Seneko trying to get away. The last Death Pulse isn't going to be enough, but neither is the Overwhelming Odds, and Funnick doesn't have the kind of movement speed. He turns and fights Crit, but he can't take this anymore.
He's got to back it up, but then again, Seneko is still in the neighborhood. Follows as well as one, charges a miracle. He's so low. Ruby is going to get the kill over on the Rubik in the meantime, but it's a trade-off. It's the Rubik for the Necro, and Na'Vi will take that trade any day.
Yeah, I mean, the Legion Commander Wisp is one of the most powerful dual offlanes in the game because of the ability to press the attack onto the Wisp and heal both of you up like that, and it's an absurd amount of regen. And, you could really see the power of those long, drawn-out fights. Monkey Business really thought they could continue to take that, but nice turnaround from Na'Vi, and their offlane's definitely working out. Hobost is suffering a bit in farm. He's 14-4 compared to the 20-3. The pickoff on the Rubik doesn't mean that much, but it's the pressure that's keeping the Razor from farming that is actually setting Monkey Business up for success.
I want to really keep my eyes closely here on Dendi, because I also want to see his build. He's going for this the Sage's Master. I'm assuming it's just meant to go into a Ring of Aquila for the SF, but you're talking about like getting a very early mech for him up and running. And then we still have to look for this early pressure. Like, it's still 2-2. Your top goal per minute still belong to the Doombringer as well as the Alchemist.
I actually almost
Dire's
expected
top tower
Seneko,
is
who
under
has
attack.
now found... Oh, don't tell me this is going to be a kill. It's going to be pretty close.
The Whisper is not enough.
Yeah.
Funnick might move in for Flash. You know, he can't. The Ice Path will walk him out. For Overwhelming Odds was what I was thinking. But they'll be pushed back.
Oh, Dendi. Oh, nice bait. Maybe they can actually get the start
Dire's
on him.
top tower is under
Couple
attack.
raises, but he's still got Chemical Rage up. So the raises will do some work, but it's not enough.
Yeah, if he didn't pop the Chemical Rage before he stunned himself up, that would have been a
Radiant's
great kill.
bottom tower is under attack.
But bottom, oh Jesus! Oh, the critical! Moonmeander picks up the kill on the
Dire's
Razor
courier
behind
has
the
been
tower
killed.
because he gets a clutch critical before the TP can complete, and Moonmeander's just going, I don't even expect this at all. I mean, up against a Razor, Scorched Earth is strong, and yeah, your right clicks are pretty insane sometimes, but and he barely manages to escape ahead of the SF too. This is more than I expected out of this Doom.
Yeah, it was good for him, but they still
Dire's
lost the
bottom
courier at the
tower
same
is
time.
under attack.
So that courier flew
Radiant's
underneath the
middle
tier
tower
1
is under
tower, so it was an
attack.
easy pickup for it. So Na'Vi still
Radiant
gets something
structures
back
are
out of everything.
fortified.
Oh, we get a good overwhelming odds here. Funnick
Miracle.
diving in,
Dire's
holding
bottom
the
tower is
duel.
under
Crit's
attack.
there. He managed to actually hit that Ice Path from a very, very long way away. But you're right, if they could lock in the duel, they would have a guaranteed kill on Necro. And this is something which Monkey just don't have yet. There's no level 6 over a Miracle. The duel breath's keeping Funny back, and now the duel is up. Fly will end up dying here. The Blitz goes to Legion Commander as they go for more. The Tether after it, and well, there's no more heal to come out from Seneko. It's just going to be this Tether and more support rotating in from Monkey. It's a concoction stun, and on the Legion Commander, just after he did the press the attack. But they just keep fighting. They've got so much extra damage at the moment. But underneath the tier 2 tower, I don't think he got that much damage. But there's no mana on No-Tail, so he rotates himself in, but there's no more control to be given.
Yeah, this is what I'm talking about. The Necrophos being shut down in the early laning phase too is so tragic. He's one of those heroes that needs that guaranteed farm for about 15 minutes. Otherwise, you don't really feel his impact by like 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And now he's just going to be kind of like a walking ultimate in the mid game. and they're going to be so reliant on Moon Meander, who's going to pick up a kill on
is under
Funnick.
attack.
Unless Wiz can save him the heal.
The deny, no, it's actually the heal, but no, Doombringer's there. And with the Scorched Earth as well as the Phase Boost, look at Snake just run. It's the haste rune on him which will allow him to survive that Doombringer.
Moon Meander, I think that, you know,
Radiant's
everyone,
top tower is
like
under attack.
myself included, we were talking about Monkey Business earlier. Miracle, the best player on the team, but Moon Meander puts out some performances in matchups where he has to. Like, I feel in so many scenarios, Monkey Business, I'm looking at the matchup, I'm like, if Moon Meander can do well, Monkey Business
Radiant's
will win
top
this game. And
tower is
this
under
is, again,
attack.
one of those scenarios, because Miracle's going to be shut down by the aggro duel of Legion Commander and Wiz. So Moon Meander has to perform really well to make up for that top lane essentially dying constantly to Na'Vi. And he's doing it. Great rotation up to the top lane. Perfect timing for that.
Interesting his build as well, going in for the phase as well as the drum build for the Doombringer. Because most of the Doombringers we've been seeing have been like rushing up the Aghanim Scepter, looking for maybe the initiation, or as I had earlier today, the Hand of Midas build. The very, very greedy kind of Doom build into a big mid game. But they're already greedy enough in this draft. I don't think we need the Midas in this game.
That would be greed on greed on greed.
They're cutting through. The Observe Wards actually scattered the fact that Moomy went into the tree line, and now they reveal it, and the duel will begin. No TP support can come in time. This Doombringer dies, and Funnick now has a bonus 20 damage from his 2-1 duels.
Yeah, when Doom is separated from the Lich, you gotta remember he has exceptionally low armor. Like, he's level 8, and he only has 10% magic resistance.
They're after
top
crit.
tower is
Shakira
under
will go into
attack.
the tree line now. He's still got Ice
Radiant's
Parts available,
bottom
which
tower
can
is
screw
under
around with this,
attack.
but ends up getting a little bit confused about exactly where he wants to throw at any ability. Ends up throwing out nothing, and they'll lose him.
Kind of an interesting smoke rotation here into the enemy jungle. I think they're trying to catch out like maybe Necrophos, who could do some jungle farm just because he has nothing else he can
Dire's
do at
bottom
this
tower
point.
is under attack.
Middle's obviously taken out by the Alchemist. He can't really show himself bottom. They understand he's gonna die.
Yeah, the Doom's
Dire's
already
top
out to him, and
tower
there's
is
nothing he can really do about this. He understands that. And it's
He just
just
gets a deny. He gets a deny on some creeps, making
Dire's
the
top
best of
tower
a bad
has
situation.
fallen.
yeah.
Radiant's
Well,
middle
up at the top
tower
lane,
is
the
under
tier 1 tower
attack.
dropped. So Na'Vi able to force a little bit more positioning. We're still looking at a Doombringer who's gone 5 for 1 with a phase boot drum build. He's just really so tanky that Na'Vi are going to have a very difficult time dealing with him. But what else have you really got that's going to be a problem? Like, Notal is now farming up in the Radiant jungle, working towards this Radiance. He's well behind what has been normal for an Alchemist, even though he does have the top net worth. We've been looking at Radiances around the 12-minute mark, and he's not going to reach that in this game.
Pip, if
Dire's
you could,
top
just
tower
alternate
is
between
under attack.
the CS and the net worth to display the absurd difference. Well, first, we gotta kill it bottom.
Yeah, Debbie is once again going to die. This is his second death. The Requiem is also on his Requiem will now relocate in with the Magnifier down to Vorpal arrive in this. They start the duel over on Cliff as another successful victory. 30 bonus damage now to Funnick. It's going to
Dire's
keep
top
ticking up.
tower is
And
under
Notal,
attack.
well, he's ready to blink himself over. Throws out the concoction on PSM. He's not going to commit to this. Instead, he just wants to blink back in the range of the tier 1 tower, as well as the
Radiant's
fourth,
middle
hilariously
tower
enough.
has
And Funnick
fallen.
press the attack, moves forward. He's after Notal. The action spray's going to go down again, and Concoction is covering as well. They're very
Dire's
deep
bottom
underneath this
tower is
tower,
under
and
attack.
that's when they go for the Concoction stun. But unfortunately, back by Taneko, doing his work. Notal can't do enough damage. Yes, he can actually. He's just on the edge of the acid spray,
Radiant's
finding himself
middle
dead.
tower
The
is
Doom
under
is back
attack.
off cooldown again for Doom. They chase after Funnick, but it's Notal with a double Concoction stun. Now they go into the Doom over on Ire. They want to ensure these kills if possible. That PSM is just hanging in the tree line next to that tower. I think Crit's actually worked this one out. He's walking over and like, yep, there's the captain of Na'Vi, and he'll die to the liquid fire, and that's an easy pick up. So Na'Vi feeding kill after kill to monkeys on the bottom lane.
I imagine that was actually planned out by Monkey Business. When I first saw that they were going to continue fight underneath that tier 1 tower and re-engage, Moon Meander like going back in like that,
Dire's
I was just
middle
like, what in the
tower
world
is
are you
under
doing?
attack.
Like, there's no reason to take that sort of fight. You're obviously going to lose it. But now with the when he buys
Radiant's
back like
bottom
that,
tower
and
is
then the
under
Alchemist
attack.
re-initiates with his incredibly
middle
powerful
tower
nuke. This
is
is the
under
power of the
attack.
Alchemist, by the way. I keep on saying Alchemists don't need to run so farm heavy. They can just as easily be incredibly strong advantage because Solar Crest is as strong as ever.
Radiant's bottom tower is fallen.
Nice take off on Miracle.
Another kill to come in. Dandy was also making his way in with an invis room, but no tell us what a bar
Dire's
of this.
structures are fortified.
Not yet. That concoction's coming off cooldown in a moment, and with both Solar Crest and Blink Dagger, you'll have the confidence to run forward. And yep, there it is. The concoction's prepping up. The Python goes out from the horse, and now he blinks forward. The press attack already used by Funnick, and getting the acid spray down too. They're gonna tick through this Legion Commander. I'm still very concerned that Funnick just doesn't have the survivability without the Wisp in the fight. But that hasn't really been a problem at the moment.
I mean, it's going to be a problem. Again, the Solar Crest combination with the Alchemist allows him to do essentially like 600, maybe 700 damage.
PSM, goodbye.
Yeah. Because you hit a hero, he's stunned up for a long duration underneath Acid Spray. You get the minus 10 armor on a hero before the Unstable Concoction lands. Most of these heroes are only operating on 5, maybe 10 armor at the time, so they're dipping either to no armor or negative armor, even in some cases. So the Unstable Concoction is doing so much damage by itself, and then the Acid Spray takes in, you get a couple of right clicks from some of these heroes, and this is dire side advantage as well. Monkey Business, I think they've taken enough control of this game. They're going to look great at 25-30 minutes. They just have to weather through Navi's peak, which is, I would say, the 20-minute mark, maybe 25.
I think they got enough to deal with that peak anyway.
To the
And the damage done by Navi in this first 15 minutes, it's only been one tier 1 tower. The kills have been fairly even.
Dire's top tower
The
is
golden
under
experience
attack.
advantage is actually going the way of Monkeys this early on. Obviously, you're going to get a gold advantage when you're running both a Doombringer as well as an Alchemist, but it's keeping the experience up as well, which just shows that even with a greedy lineup, they're still itemizing to fight. So they understand that Na'Vi have a peak,
Dire's
and they
top
just
tower
keep
is
trying to
under
battle
attack.
it. There is the concern about what is not seen in the net worth, and that is the 40 bonus damage on that Legion Commander. If this keeps building up, Funny's going to be a real problem for Monkeys. They're going to have to control him so heavily, and Miracle's in no position to do this. Like, you look at the Necro, he's got brown boots, a magic
Dire's
wand, a
top
hand of
tower
ice, and a
is
null
under attack.
talisman. There's no blink, there's no
Dire's
force,
top
there's no
tower
mech,
has
there's
fallen.
nothing along these lines that allow the Necro to be that control factor.
Yeah, well, pretty much everyone on Monkey Business should be itemizing towards stat items and fighting around that 20 to
Dire's top
25 minute
tower
mark,
is
because
under
otherwise you
attack.
just give up all your tier 2s and tier 3s.
Necro's got to play catch up.
Yeah, Necro has to play catch up. There's nothing else you can do. Experience is also incredibly important, so the minus has that extra factor to it.
Navi's trying to prepare for the tier 1 tower in mid, but it's very obvious that Monkeys is also doing the same thing. They left an aggressive ward up on the cliffside Navi, so they can see when Monkeys will move back into their jungle, and in fact they left 2 wards.
Oh, wow. So Seneko was doing so well in the top lane that somebody made the executive call, maybe it was Seneko, that he will go the mech, and both the Shadow Fiend and the Razor will go for the SNY stat item. I figured it was going to be SF mech, but Denny being allowed to go the SNY means a lot. The SF will transition into the mid to late game, being a lot more powerful because you won't have to make that trade-off. Like eventually you have to sell your mech and replace it. Now there's just going to be much more efficient build up with the Wisp getting the mech and eventual Guardian Greaves.
They might be a little bit sad though once they realize what's happening here. So they, Navi smoke up to try and find Monkey Business, but Monkey Business, they come down and they find Snako. The instant doom and the ice pass block on the Wisp. They actually put
Dire's
him under
middle
for
tower
over
is
a
under
minute
attack.
with that Reaper's Scythe. Well worth it for the tier 1 tower
Dire's
stopping in the
middle
meantime.
tower has fallen.
Yeah, it's really the extra 30 seconds, which you can argue makes it okay for a Monkey Business, because it was still a 5-man smoke for a support.
Yeah,
It's
it was
also
also avoiding the Navi smoke at the same time. So they could have lost the Alchemist, they could have lost the core.
Yeah, and it's also the fact that the Wisp is going for a very key item, right? The strength of Navi is supposed to be 20 to 30 minutes when they have mech, they have all the team fight power, and they take they just push down a whole bunch of towers and actually gain a
Radiant's
network
bottom
lead over
tower
Monkey
is under
Business
attack.
despite the farm efficiency of the Alchemist because of that. But they may not reach that point just because they chose to go for this slightly more efficient build with the mech.
Force is a long way up. The Ice Pass going to connect there with a concoction. Press the attack will break him free as the Lich ulti does not bounce. But look at Mumianda. He walks over. He realized the attack going to come from the Doom. Put on the cooldown for now. Mumianda is well deep behind the lines. But the Aegis Immortal, he's actually hoping he gets attacked here. He's losing so much damage he'll have to avoid. But no Tal will finish the job with the concoction. Miracle being killed up. He'll survive through it all too. And now Sonic is way too deep. Mumianda still hasn't broken the Aegis until now. The Ice Pass will catch out too. Chris being on the money with this, and they just don't know where to fight. Like, what do you steal? You steal Ice Path for PSM, but
Radiant's
Notel
bottom
again with that
tower
blink,
is under
jumping
attack.
in with the unstable concoction, following up with the razors. They'll back up, but the Death Bolts are bringing them back up again. Crit to be careful to take the aggro of this tower. The Ice Path's going to keep moving meandering too close, and they will be losing this Doom. Scorch's coming now off cooldown. No, he is not going to survive through this.
It's speed as well. It's Solar Crest and all of this up tilt. They still managed to pick up the Jakiro at the very least. What a great ice pass.
Man, it might be great for him, but that Steiner's going to drop on Dendy's head. Notel was able to take out the whip through the back lines, and PSM forced to run himself away. The Aspray will come down. PSM, get out of the aggro! He actually stuck around inside of it. He knew he couldn't run himself out of it, so he ended up just staying and accepting his fate.
That has to be one of the most awkward team fights. I really gotta point out, Funnick has been doing great this game, but his performance in that last team fight was
Dire's
questionable
top tower is
to begin
under
with,
attack.
and then when you saw the outcome, it was like, okay, that was just wrong. Funnick, what he did is he hit himself, like he was having an issue when he first TP'd and he had to blink back, so he never really could get an early duel initiation, and then he hit himself in these trees down here, below the tier 2 tower, away from the acid spray, waiting on his blink initiation to the Necrophos. But by the time he jumps in, especially since he jumped in and didn't use overwhelming odds first, he didn't kill the Necrophos, the duel doesn't work out, the Necrophos survives, he ends up dying because then his team has actually already lost the team fight. By the time he goes in and goes for that pickoff, he's surrounded by 4 heroes.
It is Aghanim's Doom. It is Aghanim's Doom. Notel is playing the support Alchemist, the utility build Alchemist by going for that Solar Crest, the casual Vit booster, to give him all the life he requires during the fight, and is going to start buffing up his own teammates.
Yeah, you just put everything on the Doom. I mean, you saw the way he survived through that last engagement because of the uphill misses as well as the Solar Crest given over by Notel to Moon Meander. Then you throw the Ice Armor on there. It's just so many ways to be able to mitigate the incoming damage. And he's got Scorched Earth, which is this heavy regen. Now with the BKB and the stats, you can't forget about the stats that are given to him from the Aghanim Scepter synthesized as well. So he's a tanky beast, will not be stopped, and Monkey Business will continue to hold the advantage, and because they're dire side and they have a great roach taking team, build up these Aegises and these cheeses eventually to always hold a team fight advantage. And Na'Vi, I don't know how they come back into this game, but it has to be forcing a really great team fight in the next 5 minutes. Otherwise, they just lose out on the farm battle.
The sad thing is that you could say like Na'Vi, okay, you look for pickoffs. But the only person who can do that right now is Funnick, because Denny went for this big stat item, but he goes for SMY, he builds into BKB, there's no Shadow Blade, Blink Dagger, BKB, start with initiation, you get a big Requiem of Souls off, and then you maybe say, well, it's the Razor's job, but Razor is also SMY
Radiant's
build,
bottom
so
tower
it's
is under
the
attack.
one of them, but it's a very obvious one of them, and they don't push fast enough. Like, the fact you've even still got the Jakiro here, that's a level 4 liquid
Radiant's
fire,
bottom
which means you
tower
take
has fallen.
little damage when you come onto the tower, plus the tower's always ticking down. And you got enough physical damage coming out from this Doombringer that you can just burn through the towers as well. So, I'm not quite sure how Na'Vi are meant to get the better trade-offs when they go for this push
Radiant's
style,
bottom
when they
tower
smoke
is under
gank,
attack.
they're still at a disadvantage coming
Dire's
into the
top
engagement.
tower is under attack.
Because you're fighting under a Doombringer who is almost impossible to kill.
Yeah.
And a Necro who is still playing catch-up, but if you drop low and you get hit by that Scythe, you lose buildings then.
Yeah.
Because you're just down for so damn long. And it's actually interesting to see that Miracle's going to be building into this mech now. So he starts it up at 22 minutes, but he's already got the headdress as well as the buckler.
Yeah, he just might as, like, he's a utility hero for now.
I'm assuming it's for Greaves. Like, is Greaves the play here?
Yeah. Guardian Greaves gives you that extra bonus armor with the Doom is low HP. He now has the Guardian Greaves Aura that'll kick into play as well. The extra heal. I mean, there's just so much sustain on Monkey Business. Eventually, an Aghanims will be given to the Necrophos as well, and then you'll see him start being a bit more of a carry. He'll get maybe a Blink Dagger as well and just be able to jump in a lot more. But for now, he's squishy and just needs to sit back and be utility.
Notel doesn't find anything. Oh my, that utility is kicking into. Chris got himself
Dire's
a
middle
Yule
tower
Scepter.
is under attack.
And with the high points up in Ice Path as well. It's just... So you got a 2.2 duration of Ice Path. A very long stun. The perfect setup. Another way to take Legion Commander out of a duel when she tries to battle against whoever she picks on. And if she picks on the Jakiro, that's also a horrible target. Jakira's got a huge amount of strength gain for a support hero.
Which is why Funnick desperately needs to finish up his BKB.
Yeah.
He can't afford to be
Radiant's top
interrupted.
tower is under attack.
And there isn't, well, yeah.
I guess
Radiant
that's,
structures are
you know,
fortified.
I was saying, I don't know how they
Dire
Navi
structures are
turn things
fortified.
around.
They're TPing him.
Radiant's
Moomy
top
is about to
tower
just
is
walk
under
himself
attack.
in. Still got the BKB. Funnick over on the side, and then already used the attack. Gets caught up by the ice path. This is the exact control combo we're talking about, and the relocate save does not work, which means Wisp, he's coming back to the fight. He tried to drag him to the mid lane, that won't work. They
Radiant's
catch out the
top
Force in the
tower
tree
is
line.
under
They'll
attack.
commit the Doom to this one, and the Force will end up dying. The ice path already down, and well, Razor's on the sidelines for 75 seconds. The Wisp will drop as well. It's just the perfect combination at the moment from Monkeys. They're getting pick-off after pick-off when Na'Vi are looking to fight. And it was just such an easy prep. Put Doom in the trees, slowly TP the heroes in, and walk in. And Na'Vi, Funnick was up so far that they had to commit to the fight.
A lot of people, I mean, myself included, I was talking about Funnick's questionable play
Then
earlier.
he's dead.
Is he?
You've got the Lich ulti as well. Actually, yeah, I thought the rest of Monkeys would be moving up with them, but not the case.
Yeah, they were kind of still pushing out and farming the jungle. The problem is you're going to see a lot of plays coming out from Navi. It has been that way ever since Roshan was taken by Monkey Business, and it's going to get even worse. That Navi just won't have good fights to take anymore. But they know they also need to take fights. So you're going to see a lot of situations where you're like, why did they do that? Why did they try and force a fight there? Why did they wait out the BKBs? It's because they have a lot of pressure on them, and they know that they're on such a timeline. You have to make sort of desperate moves. If you want to be able to change the fate of this game, because it's like 90% secured for Monkey Business by this point.
Yeah.
If not more.
Well, they've only got like 7.5k net worth advantage
Yeah, it's
as
not
well
much,
as
right?
like 7.5k experience, 25 minutes in.
It's like
all the items they were really searching for on these heroes, and they went past that danger mark, like you were saying, like 25 minutes is the mark. 25 minutes is Navi's time.
Yeah.
But it's just most definitely not Navi's time right now.
they just lost it a little bit too much control early. Roshan
And
could
the
never
first
go.
gonna break. They start with the Wisp ulti, and the BKBs will protect them, and they keep that ulti up. The dual Doom is going to go down. The Wisp be the one to find the kill. It was a dual win, and Crit forced into Roshan, goes the ice path, and then TP out on his time. The SM is there for the paintball, and Navi instantly try and capitalize. They're gonna go for Roshan. Buyback is available for Doom. And Miracle was thinking about this. He got a blink dagger plus the Greaves, which is already triggered. They'll let it go, and in fact, they just catch out to Nako. He was just wanting to join the rest of his friends, and now they can side him down if they want to. He's so low,
Roshan has fallen
and
to
no
the
time
Radiant.
chase him into the tree lines. Just punch him. Punch him.
They really did not want to use Reaper's Life on that kill.
Which is weird. You'd think you want to fly for that time mid.
It's a little bit weird because they should have like, oh, it's doing Roshan. Like they're doing Roshan, they're gonna pop out and probably push out middle from there.
Yeah.
Maybe he thought bottom just because one, the Wisp just died there, plus there's a tier 1 and tier 2 up at bottom lane, but it's still a risky place to be.
An 85-second cooldown isn't really that much when you think about it. Like, if you take the Wisp out of it, then there's no reinforcements for Navi during that push.
I mean, if you look at it, the quote-unquote uptime of Necrophos' ultimate is actually the amount of time that a hero is dead compared to its, the cooldown.
Yeah.
It's actually absurd, especially later on to the game, because you can see situations where 3 heroes are Reaper Scythe dead. Like, because he gets 1 kill in the beginning, and then maybe he gets, like, he'll get a refresher eventually. Oh, Miracle's gonna be jumped on here.
Yeah, the relocate's coming in as well.
This will only last
Showing the way for Razor in this case. The Mooney has been being up. He's already triggered off that Doom, but it's then you got the BKB up. Not taking as much damage to both, however. Caught inside that Necroplier and the Lich ulti. They will try and split. The Lich ulti will fly. Welcome to Team Global.
Wait, is it going on the Wisp or Havos?
It's going on a Voss.
Okay.
And they're
so he's
split up.
fine.
Yep. 116 life is all that's left. But Deadly is sticking out. They'll press the attack to give him his life back, however. So the Doom doesn't find a kill, and Navi are actually surviving and initiating as well. Not something I was expecting to see happen.
When they went for that tier 1 tower push at the bottom lane, I was gonna say that the way that Navi would come back into this game is to finish out their BKBs, because that's obviously critical on the Legion Commander. The SF can't afford to take those unstable concoction nukes anymore.
Ooh, Funnick blinks himself away. Found all of the Monkeys team. Crit trying to get himself in range for the Yule Scepter, and he can't do it. The Ice Path won't be able to reach, and Notal realizes he's gonna have to concoct himself. Also note too that Notal will not be buying the Aghanims upgrade for the Necro. Necro looks like he's gonna do it himself.
Yeah, maybe they figure that Alchemists aren't, because they don't control the game quite enough, and that the Necrophos is far enough behind, that they need Alchemist to be the other carry, the 2 position behind
Dyer's
the Doom.
bottom tower.
Unless Necro is going to go for something else. Jump in, there's your duel again. Phonic's already got $68 damage, and now they're going to bring down more as 800 points of damage, and into Miracle. A double kill arriving for Phonic. This Legion just hit so hard.
Yeah.
Like over 220 damage per attack. For heroes like Lich that just don't have much, and then he actually gave away Ice Armor as well, Frost Armor as well. So Rubik is
Dyer's
buffing up
middle
everyone
tower
else
is
on
under
Navi.
attack.
Yeah, the DD helped out with
Dyer's
on Dendi as
structures
well.
are fortified.
And Navi are playing this, I think, very smartly. They gave up a little bit too much control early, but they sort of waited out their BKBs, and once they did have their BKBs,
Dyer's
they're
middle
pressuring
tower has
really
fallen.
well. I mean, the smoke gank that started all of this for them to be able to take up Roshan was brilliant, and now maybe they can end this game in the next 10 minutes, just taking one lane of Rax, falling back on another Roshan, going another lane of Rax.
That's why they want to end it now. Yeah, really keeping him out, and there's a concoction over on Dendi, but Pressy attack comes back off cooldown. They just keep pumping up Dendi a little bit more. Snako trying to keep that tether up. The Aspray's not making it easy, but they get through the
Dyer's
tier 3
middle
tower,
tower has
and now
fallen.
attacking into that melee Rax. And where do you really go from here? Mumiana wants to doom up Dendi, but he needs to go to BKB in order to do it. And the level death, okay, that helps. A lot of burst damage, and they glimmer cage anyway, but the Ice Blast will connect. It comes running, starts off the duel, but Mumiana's just so strong. The Legion is coming into this fight, and with the duel for the 12 with that side, it's going to be enough. The Legion is down for 90 seconds. The Yule step the rover onto the Razor, allowing the Ice Blast to connect onto the Razor too, and flying he's too close. The Punchfield will get the kill for a boss. But the Doom is still up, and of course, okay, that is 2 multipliers on the level death. Miracles on the back of PSM, and this is the fight the Monkeys were searching for, when Na'Vi just pushed it a little bit too far, and now they lose 3 heroes in a quick concession.
Maybe he thought he just wasn't going to escape anyway, but he had that Glimmer Cape for a little while. Or maybe he wanted to bait out the unstable concoction and force Big Daddy No Tail to stun himself. Maybe he thought that was the only way he would get out.
Maybe. I should also say Succession.
Yeah. Ethereal Blade for the Alchemist. This will help out against the duel. It's a very interesting
Radiant's middle
concept,
tower
I guess.
is under attack.
Because his items are a little bit oxymoronic in a way. Right?
Yeah.
Because you have the unstable concoction, physical damage nuke paired up with a solar crest, which is minus armor, and then you're like, yeah, go ahead and just remove all that physical damage with Ethereal Blade and put him in this passive state. But I think it's meant to be this counter versus the duel to make sure that whoever is grabbed survives through that, because they do have a lot of sustain behind it. So if he's taking nukes and stuff during that period of time, he's probably not going to die. And then once he's outside of the duel and they're free to, say it's like the Necrophos, you know, that's such a big hero, they keep him alive through the duel. He gets off a Death Pulse, Guardian Greaves, he turns around, throws out a Reaper's Sight. That's a game-winning maneuver if they can keep him alive. So
She also flagged too the fact that we misread the point booster. There's a soul booster now over on Miracle.
yeah, I was going to say that they can still go in
Radiant's
Aghanims
top
on
tower
Miracle,
has
and he can go in
fallen.
Octarine Core.
Yeah.
That would be like if your traditional Necrophos items would be like Blink Dagger, Rod of Atos, and then Aghanims, Octarine. Octarine has so much value with the very low cooldown of Death Pulse, and then obviously you want more Reaper size if you can.
Yeah. Yeah, it's almost like Monkey's just still preparing to battle out for that, because if you're going to get that Aghanim Scepter up, No Tail needs still to find a little bit more space, because he built the E-Blade, and that means he'll probably need another maybe 5 to 10 minutes to farm up something like an Aghanim Scepter for the Necro. And still have buyback for the fights too.
I have heard this from a couple of people. While his tiny performance is really sick, his people sometimes identify Big Daddy No Tail. I've heard his name the most as the weakest link of Monkey Business, which is really surprising. It just goes to show the strength of the team. But in this game, like, he hasn't died yet. He played the early game fantastically with the Blink Dagger Solar Crest. Like, he made for a very strong ganker that provided a lot of space for not only himself to farm, but obviously the Doom and the Necrophos. Well, the Doom to stay ahead of everyone and continue to put pressure, but the Necrophos to come back into this game.
Yeah, it's the self-sacrificing kind of approach which he takes. Like, you know how to win the game. You just gotta sacrifice yourself to do it in a way. It's all pretty good.
Daedalus is coming in for Dendi. I think he's just trying to hold on to buyback. The BKB pickup for the Razor, I think you go Ags next still on him. Razors have been putting much less priority in Aghanim Scepters.
Was ever since they stopped doing the whole refresh your Aghanim Scepter push up.
Yeah, exactly.
Like you just buff up your armor, instead you get something like an Assault Cuirass to work.
Yeah, a lot more going for the stats of S and Y, BKB, and then as you said, AC eventually.
Yeah.
Legion Commander slowed down enough that you can't rely on her to go the AC, so yeah, maybe Havost will go that item.
I'm a little concerned. Actually, he's not. He's going for King Bar instead.
Yeah, this is a good change because
Solar Crest.
Yeah, because of that Solar Crest. I was really curious. I didn't want to question Dendy, and there was a lot of things to talk about, but I was just like, why are you going Crystallis over MKB? Because there's a Solar Crest. You saw the issues you had with the Doom earlier, but everything makes much more sense now. Now that he's gonna complete the MKB. And Crystallis, I guess, is really cheap damage.
Gotta be careful though, they sacrificed buyback in order to do this. And they just smoked up as a 3-man smoke only. Actually, sorry, take it back. Razor was also caught inside of this. Stay pushing closer, they'll find an Invis rune. Roshan's still got over a minute before he'll spawn up. The Doctor Call now gets completed for the Necro too. So we have a 52.5 second cooldown over on that Reaper's Scythe. But they're ready to fight. Monkeys is in the perfect position. They don't move down far enough. The Observer Ward's going to be close, and then Havost actually gets it triggered. Funnick will move up as well. But it's because the smoke broke, the Monkeys won't want to come down. They don't know how much is behind Havost.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to take that fight, Monkey Business don't want to take fights right now unless they're forced into for an objective, and in this case it would be Roshan. So if they are going to have a fight, it's going to be on their terms, right? So that's why they don't go down that cliff area. They say, go ahead, if you come up that cliff area, we guaranteed win the fight, because positioning in team fights is really difficult when you're going up staircases. So you're just going to get off their spells.
They're both waiting, like everyone's just waiting on the top of the staircase.
Yeah, now Na'Vi figure, okay, Monkey Business, now it's their turn to smoke up, they're going to try and catch us, but it's all about getting that pick off for Roshan.
But who's even got the ways in? Monkeys now, okay. Because you can blink in no tell, but no, and as well as the Necro, but that's going to be all. Everyone else is. You got the Jakiro as well, but you just have to sit outside the base in a way. Everyone looks for the little advantages in standoffs like this, and it's usually like, okay, go ahead and push out that middle lane, right? So if they stick around as a 5-man crew, at least that middle lane will push into the tier 3 or something like that. But Monkey Business have the bigger small advantage, which is that the top lane's pushing out, and Na'Vi can't rotate to do it because Monkey Business would immediately funnel into the Roshan pit and take it, or force the 4 versus 5. Like, in a way, you could use relocate to go up there and clean up the wave, but you kind of want to have that defensive relocate during the fight, so you get a second life onto somebody else. And now they push up through Miasa, they go for PSM, the Observer Ward's on the hillside, and Zaneko trying to keep PSM alive in the Doom, but the duel is over on Doom, and what can he do? Actually lives through this one, tries to get the Doom, but he can't get the side, and Doom's down, the Virus are coming in, and the Necro is down on the sideline, they can blow off in the grid, Sunrise has been tricked, he's going to turn the ulti on, but now Miasa comes in, but the relocate takes Danny all the way back home. All the way to base, you just force out 2 buybacks from the Doom as well as the Necro. You might lose the win, but it's worth it.
Yeah, Zaneko. Sorry, buddy. There's no surviving here. Now, what Monkey Business will probably do is try and go Roshan here anyway. They have buyback immediately from... Yeah, this is... Funnick knows
the line drawn by PSM, and they get yourself to the pit right now.
Yeah, exactly. Funnick knows that if Monkey Business are allowed to go into the Roshan pit, they'll do it. Like 3 versus 2, they'll take Roshan so quickly. So Na'Vi basically ensure that Roshan is theirs by preemptively throwing out the buybacks.
I'm not sure this is theirs though.
It'll...
Like they at least stop Monkeys from doing it.
Yeah.
The damage isn't bad, but everyone's coming back up now. Like, you don't have the Lich ulti, but the macro fires back up. Okay, yeah, Monkeys aren't even in position. I thought with the Natus spray, as well as a little bit of harassment, they could slow down Na'Vi from doing this, but they don't.
Yeah, they probably could have been there in time to force the 5 versus 5, but they're in a distinct disadvantage because they don't actually have very good, like, big Roche contesting heroes, right? No big AoE control or anything like that. And then if you think about it, yeah, if you're forcing the fight and you don't have good AoE control, you don't have a Roshan advantage. So if you go into there and whoops, they've taken Roshan, they just picked up the Aegis H's and G's. You just lost a fight before, now you're fighting into an H's and G's. There's no way.
Real trouble, blink up, there's your duel. Standing on him, the relocate's coming in too, looking for the AoE stun. Not gonna help, Miracle is gonna survive long enough, however. There comes the Green, and they have run themselves in that side. This knocks me of damage to kill off Phonic, and Denny splits in the middle of the fight, turns on that Requiem of Souls, forcing Monkeys back, but the Wisp is down. Mumien's gonna join him in a moment. So one for either side from the sideline. The Monkeys has to really fall back and just hold the line.
The call, it's tough to say whether an Aghanim Scepter would make the difference here, but you saw the power of the Ethereal Blade. It kept the Necrophos alive, which is so important. They made an inefficient trade, but at least they stayed, kept it from being a total pickoff.
You'll set her up by crit. PSM came in very, very close. Got another Iron Pump coming back up through that now. It's Miracles. They crisscross the Iron Pump. And then he try and bring down this range. Rice getting stunned out quite heavily. A Miracle, 8 seconds off the side. They burn through the Aegis, the Immortal. The Wisp already took out the cheese, so they don't have that bonus from Roshan anymore. And Chris is trying to keep Dendy back. Liquid Fire having no real effect. Roshan jumping up for the sun as he hits BSM. But it's all about holding the high ground while the Doom as well as the Lich is down. And there's that Assault Cuirassier on Vorse. Actually take it back. They pass the cheese onto the Razor. So they still have this on her Vorse.
Dire's middle barracks is falling.
They'll commit for the melee max Monkey business.
Don't think this game changed. There's your duel. It's over on Miracle. The E-Blade stopping Phonic once again with the Ice Path is there. The fall of Ice Path Miracle. He's able to at least get the pulse off and it's not able to stay alive. The dual breath doing its work on the Phonic, but with the Nako tethered up and a Vorse just doesn't care. He's so tanky anyway. They're able to bring down this mid-ranking Navi with a huge advantage. No concoction available, but the Aspirate comes up cooldown. Phonic just trying to run himself out. They're successful at doing so. As Roshan like the E-Blade, press the attack, breaks Dendy free, and a block. Dooms up, Mumienda trying to ensure the kill here. They should be able to. The Vorse will tick out from this. 34, and yep, there he goes. He'll pop. PSM trying to juke it around the tree lines. The Ice Path is down, and there he is. Called out. No tells how to find that kill. And Monkeys, they lose their mid lane, but Razor is down for a minute.
Again, the Ethereal Blade, beautiful counter to the duel. I gotta commend, you know, for me, I'm still a little 50-50 on whether or not the Aghanim Scepter would be worth it, but every single time I see the effectiveness of that Ethereal Blade against the duel, I commend No-Tail more and more, because even if it is still 50-50, it's the outside of the box thinking that No-Tail,
he's got the Ags.
Yeah, I think other players would have just like naturally gone, oh, you know, I get the Ags now, etc., but
they're gonna pass it over now. And the question is, well, he's moving forward to keep the farm up, because obviously Necro is still down.
Yeah, because if Necrophos had actually survived just a little bit longer, he would have gotten off the Reaper Scythe on the Legion Commander. And then they would have had 2 heroes down for over a minute.
Their smoke didn't catch up, Moon. They really wanted it to as well. Phonic is running in with a Shadow Blade, so he's trying to jump in behind. Moon Meander is exposing himself, but it's to jump out. They managed to catch out the Wisp, but Snake going to a double Ice Path, and with the Lich holding, he'll bounce up. Actually, no, it won't. Denny will trigger his BKB. There's only Snake to drop. But No-Tail wants more. Concoction's still on cooldown for the moment. With a blink forward into the Ice Path, actually catching PSM as well. Denny being Glimmer caped up, but he can't run himself out this one. What do you feel? They're on level 10, and Denny, the 5 is able to connect. 2 minutes on the sideline where you do not have your SF being Necroed down like that. And he actually got the Ags buff up just as that fight was beginning.
I was about to say, did they want to get Moon inside of that smoke? Because it felt more like, to me, Monkey Business wanted to bait out Moon. And maybe say, like, hey, Legion Commander,
they pinged like they lost Moon.
Oh, okay.
Like, that's the reason why
maybe it was just, yeah, maybe it was just happy circumstance. Because then Legion Commander was like, oh, maybe I can go for this, but that smoke gate turned out way better. And again, it's the Ice Pass. Yep, the Ice Pass on both sides have been amazing. The fact that they caught Dendy there with the Ice Pass is what allowed them to be able to keep him in range for the kill.
Well, that's nice for PSM. He's still out. Great. Making this push just a little bit harder, but it makes it so easy when Dendy is 100% dead for that long. It's another 66 seconds until Dendy will be back up into the world of the living.
Yeah, it's one pickoff. This is the thing about the Aghanim Scepter on Necrophos. One pickoff can end the game.
And they found another one. It's PSM. The Ice Path connected. PSM is down so quickly. They can go for more. But No-Tail so low. The winner will be Phonic once again with a side drop hit down. Now over 2 minutes without the Legion Commander. This going from bad to worse. Monkeys just buy back.
Radiant's
they bring in
bottom
no
tower
with
is
the
under
BTs.
attack.
They can take 3 sets of practice if they
Radiant's
want to.
bottom tower
While the
has
Legion is
fallen.
gone, you've basically removed
Radiant's
300
bottom
damage a
barracks
hit,
are under attack.
as well as the control of duel.
Monkey Business are going all in. I mean, they
Radiant's
bought back on
bottom barracks
No
has
Tail,
fallen.
knowing that they've just you get
Radiant's
the one pick
bottom
off and you're just keep
barracks
funneling. And again, the
has
downtime. There is
fallen.
no real downtime. Like he's gonna have Reaper Scythe up in 20 seconds at about the same time
Radiant's
that the
middle
SF is coming back up,
barracks
and
has
he still has the Legion Commander down.
Yep, and they still have Doom. But the ulti is still waiting there for Ruby as they go to the Ice Farm. They're just done it, of course. They actually try and return it with the Lotus Roll. Which is down for Seneko, but at the end of the day, the Razor will pop. Now he'll have to buy back. Dendi is alive, and Monkeys might decide just to back down this one. They've still got their BKBs and Doom available. The Ice Spot to play out again. This one won't actually connect over
Radiant's
the
top
top.
tower
And
has
Dendi
fallen.
triggers the BKB.
Radiant's
Rumian just
middle
wants to
tower
get
is
out of
under
here.
attack.
They have that sprint back off cooldown, and Navi is get a very, very long way. Mumienda, he's got the space down. They break the Static Link, only 63 points of damage sold. The E-Blade and Yule set the up. The force being dual threat up Snako. He's got his carries back. They load us all but up again, and that's why they're trying to wait a little bit longer on that too. But Miracle, pick him up, and throw him back down again. They do get through the next row. He will buy back, but the Red Trophy coming into the fight. The both PSM and the Force have to split themselves up. The Concoction will connect the PSM, will end up dying here, but Monkeys, they've lost a hell of a lot for this. Chikira's on the sidelines. You already lost your Doombringer. And remember that these heroes did buy back. It's both the Necro as well as the Alchemist and the Chikira all bought back. So they're just going to play the safe game. Fall back and let the creep waves do their work.
Monkey
We'll take
Business.
that.
I thought it was a little bit risky them taking that top team fight still when they could have just backed out after the Razor chased forward so much. And they did lose a bit much, but they're still in so much control. All
Look how
thanks
much
to
they
that
gained.
initial pickoff.
Like if you look at that
Yeah.
gold graph, it's just a huge gain from the gold, not the experience. The experience still belongs to Navi.
Yeah, in total, that was obviously a gigantic Monkey Business win. It just snowballed itself, right? It went from the SF, then the Legion Commander. They forced out some buybacks, so even if they do kill, say, the Razor or the Razor or the who else doesn't have buy? Okay, it's just the Razor who bought back. But they kill him, not using Reaper Scythe, and then they kill someone else with Reaper Scythe. 2 heroes dead for like 2 minutes.
Yeah. And that really is where it ends up. It's just like, okay, so no matter what happens, doesn't matter if you got buyback. You can't prepare for this as Navi. So if you go down to the scythe, you're out.
What? What would Diffusal Blade offer you here? You can remove Solar Crest.
Wait, he's buying
You can
the
slow down
Diffusal?
heroes. You've got double Blades of Alacrity on the Razor. Now, Diffusal has a lot more potential to it ever since the change of the cooldown, where you could just boom, boom, boom.
Oh, they're running in. The smoke's gonna break on Monkey. Well, they BKB, but it's gonna jump in. Start the duel over on Chris. Chikira, he plays up and funny. Okay, they can finish the job with the SF Razors kicking in. The Ice Path from PSM catching up Rumianda. They'll pick him up and toss him back down again. They need to keep this Doombringer alive. The Scorch's gonna help with that. And the Lich ulti, well, it does keep the bounce going. Another Ice Path from PSM, making it difficult for Monkeys to chase him. The supports in the tree line, running himself out of here. No good front lines anymore. He's down! 2 minutes on the sideline, and they can keep on going. Blink and Concoction coming off cooldown now, but no tell.
He's a great
will not
conductor.
be able to survive through this one. They'll get the stun. Miracle's behind him, and there it is. A double kill. The exact situation you're talking about, Cap. You kill off the Razor, and you sight another hero. It is the SF, and it's the Razor. This is practically over.
Yeah, a minute and a half to take 1 lane of frags. That should be so easy for Monkey Business. It's child's
You
play.
don't even take care of the top lane. You take care, like, you push through the mid.
I mean, whatever they want. I mean, they can go and take out the top lane of Rags and get megas, or they can go straight for the throne. It doesn't really matter too much. They know it's going to be 3 versus 5. The Jakiro just came back up, and he'll be joining them. But even if it was just the 3 cores of Monkey Business, they're just too big. I do have to say, Navi impressed me with the way I thought this game was over by like 20 minutes, where I was thinking, okay, even when they hit their peak, when they have all the BKBs, I don't think they'll be strong enough to end this game, and Monkey Business will eventually come back. But
Wow, Funnick. He's just going ham. He's after no tell at the moment. The Ice Path is down. Back and down the side. Funnick is on the sidelines. He's trying to return it with Lotus, but no joy. And GG, well played.
Radiant's
Monkeys will
middle
take
tower
game
is
number
under
1
attack.
here against
Radiant's
Navi.
middle tower has fallen.
And this, yeah. You know, like, I was expecting more with Navi. It felt actually more like a 35-minute mark. I got sitting there 25 minutes and going, oh, okay, game is good. And then they pulled back. Then you take out the mid-racks, and Navi showed some spark of life. And then that mid-fight when Monkey's like, okay, now we push. The Aghanim's was transferred over to the Necro, and you just... the death time.
It's absurd. It's absurd. You know
no ability to come back as well. It's like, what do you even do? Like, you can't plan for this kind of stuff.
Yeah, you know what this you can call this strategy, Toby. It's control